I know, look who it is. And I'm not gonna talk all quiet and down like that. You guys know me. So today we're gonna be talking about something um a little bit more on the serious side compared to what my channel's been. I actually just recently moved, and that was why I have not been posting any videos, and I'm going to come back doing something quite different, but I think you guys will appreciate it. It's going to be a little bit more personal, a little bit something I feel like I actually personally would like to continue doing on social media on my channel. Um, I feel like I have a lot to say because I have this reading ability. If you want to get to know something about me a little bit more, it would be that I read people. And as a child, it was something that my siblings, mostly just my sister, my mom, people that I was very close to, would have something to say about it to really get um, how intense it really was, but people couldn't get away with an honest lie anyway. It's like they didn't have to be uh, saying anything. They could have a poker face, and, you know what I mean? And I would just know what they were thinking. It got so intense that the reading got so intense to the point that I actually could see my uncle one day sitting on the couch, and he was thinking about sex. It's like his hand was just like this. He wasn't giving away anything that he was thinking of it. He didn't have like a boner or anything showing like that. It was just I just knew, and I could just tell honest lies and other things that people would be completely fooled by. I would just know and be like, why are they saying that? Why are they not just saying what it really is? Because of this, I try to be a very truthful person, and that's a little background of why I feel that I have, when it comes to people, I have a lot to say, a lot to put into it. I overthink things. I have photographic memory, so I don't really forget much, like what I've learned in my life, to kind of throw that in there along with everything else I'm doing. Um, so yes, this video is going to be about something that has been constantly popping up, and normally I have no care about it because I know that it's something that gets you carried away because your your genetic impulse is to protect yourself, and a lot of people get carried on about this subject. You already would have read the title if you're watching this video. What it's about. People are built up from their ancestors to react this way. They love the attention that you get from something negative, um, and because something negative draws you, it catches your attention more. It's an excitement, and you can make yourself believe that you actually deeply care about something, or there's something still happening that is worth saying something about it, when really it's long overdue. Um, I think, yeah, from there, let's just get into the video. So before I even start this video, I wanted to talk about, I have a 1/4% Arapaho Native American in my blood. If you go back and watch my family tribute video, you will see my mother appear several times out through that video, and other family members of mine, and they are of the darker skin tone, if you get my drift. But I look like my dad. Obviously, I do not look Native American other than my strong bone structure in my face, and my Native American bridge on my nose, which gives me, my appearance as, Lois Griffin, when I turn sideways. But anyways, other than that, this is definitely not a video cutting down, condemning anyone. I would definitely not ever view my channel being about that, because I am a comedian, and I would not ever want to insult anyone in that, I guess, in that way. So let's get started with this video. Something that most people might not know about Native Americans and people from Europe is they met over 1,000 years before there actually was an issue between them killing off. The Native Americans, as you can see in this photo right here, actually did not die from the Europeans, but from disease. It was not the gun that killed them, it was disease. Thousands, millions, you could even say, were killed off before that war even began, and nobody ever talks about this. It's a very sad thing, only because it seems to be that everything is directed towards one race, yet that one race is the only race that is racist. Here are some totally safe blankets, my Native American friends. Many white people tried to help the Native Americans get well, and the war broke out a pretty long time after that, but nobody talks about that. It's easier to say that they were all simply killed off just by whites. Wars happen. It doesn't justify this piece of shit right here smiling in any way. And just like these folks here, to get into the more common subject about white slavery, black slavery, with the whites controlling them and all that BS. It's not BS entirely when it comes to that it happened, and just these motherfuckers happen too. I'll try to say it. See, good and evil is always going to be the outcome between anything ever said about racism or people enslaving. But I will say this. Black people, slave black people, and many people know this, and it's something simply that you're not going to talk about. You only talk about what the media wants you to talk about, and I'll try to get into this a little bit more in detail. Like Black Lives Matter. This is a subject I don't like to speak of either, because Black Lives Matter is a group of people and not an entire race. But just like Black Lives Matter, there was black slaves, or more black slaves owning black people, or black people owning black slaves than there was whites. Just like there is more black on black crime, regardless of the neighborhood or what, everything comes with a choice, obviously. Sort of stopped sometime a while ago back, so I'm going to rephrase what I was just saying. I was really getting on a roll. Was I alive? This is where it gets real. Are you angry that I defend myself? Are you angry? Alright, Cyrus was talking a minute ago, alright? Cyrus was talking a minute ago. Now, I don't think we're doing that now. You want to know why I put the hood on? Want to, a few people get down in the comments, start texting away with their little fingers. Why did you put a hood on in a house? Because you were talking to Cyrus a minute ago. Now Virus is coming out. He's my alter ego. And he takes the piss out of everything. So that's what's going to happen right now. Are you ready for this? Was I alive? Does the skin color, does the skin over my flesh and bone justify who I am as a human being? Does it justify who I am, my spirit? Or what meaning of life truly is? I don't think it does. I really don't think it does. Do you think you are what you've done? You think you are the mistakes you made? If you're not a spiritual person to some descent, I always say this above everything. If you don't have some type of belief in spirituality, then like if this video is about atheism, right? About atheism and religion. Why care about anything? Why care about moral respect? Why care about anything at all? You could say, because I want to live my life in peace and enjoy it without, going, getting locked up, because I could just go break somebody's neck and it doesn't matter. My point is, if you wanted to, why not? Because you're not living up to anything. You're just dust in the wind. Dust in the wind. All you are is dust in the wind. Okay? That's what you are if you don't believe in something spiritual. So I'm always going to take it there. I'm always going to bring it back to spirituality. I'm going to tell you why. Because there is no point to anything worth fighting for, your race, anything, if you don't have a spiritual care behind it. Because you care about an outcome, you care about meaning, because if you don't believe in anything spiritual, why do you care about your ancestors? Why do you even care about the past? Like I was talking to black folks, why would you care about what happened 400 years ago, or what happened if I'm off by a couple hundred years, like I don't know what I'm talking about? That's fine. Let's rephrase that. I'm not editing nothing. This is real right here. This is real, and I want to hear somebody's opinion on this. What happened for 400 years in history? All right. If you care about what happened then, do you care about God? Because why would you care? You're only going to be here now, and if you're living a much better life than they were, and in the future, it could be someone's turn. It could be someone next. It could be a whole nother race, because that's what people do. They attack each other. They don't see any of the good or who did what to help things become better. They only see there's an opportunity to hurt back. Alright, with that being said, if not spiritual, why care? Enjoy your life now. If you believe in something spiritual, care about the future, care about the past, care about what happened, because then it has value. It doesn't matter who did what or who's getting hurt if all you are is dust in the wind. If there is no 100% no meaning to life, then you're just dust in the wind, and you're wasting your time caring. You're wasting your time, because everybody's gonna get theirs. Everyone's gonna get theirs. What happened in history with racism, what I'm not going to say what Germans, a good amount of them did, but what Hitler did to the Jews, what Europeans did to the Native Americans, what white folks did to see, it sounds like a lot of white on other races, because that's the truth. Now, what happens, the karma of what we're speaking of right now, how that is repaid, how the Caucasian race gets theirs is this one thing. Because it was these leaders doing most of this damage, white on native, white on black, white on Jewish, natives, blacks, and Jewish got it the worst when it comes to what the lighter skinned people have done in history. But the karma that white people got from that already is that in a slower process, they don't only suffer with guilt. Many white families suffer with just the thought of how could my ancestors have been part of such a terrible thing. They're already having guilt about it. They're already feeling pain about something they weren't even a part of. Spiritually, they could be a part of it, and that's why they're not like it. But if you don't think spiritually, then they just weren't a part of it, because they weren't there, and you're just flesh and bone. You came from a fish to a lizard to a cat to a dog to a monkey. You believe in that kind of thing, then there's no point to care about your skin color, about Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter. Nothing matters if there is no God, if there is no spirituality. With that being said, I'm going to continue. It's getting a little hot here when you start talking about something heated like this. I'm going to get a little bit more into this. Cyrus is back. Alright. I had to take the piss out of that a little bit. Alright. I had to cool down a little bit. Well, I think you guys can appreciate my getting intense into it, but I had to take a break because it gets me uptight sometimes. It doesn't get me uptight in the way that it does most people, because there's no sentimental value to going out and protesting or offending an entire race or an entire group. Caucasians, they got theirs because families suffer with guilt, and people, whether they suffer with guilt or they are, being murdered and it doesn't get mentioned, they feel guilty to go out and protest, saying, truly meaning it, saying white lives matter, or even all lives matter, even though that includes everything that's living in this world, in this life, in this moment in time. That's what that goes for, but they still have guilt about it because their ancestors played a role. For many of them, their ancestors didn't play any role at all. They weren't even related to those people. They came from a group that was sitting somewhere over in Ireland, or in Australia, just, relaxing and not doing anything, didn't own their own slaves. Irish people actually were enslaved. I'm Irish and Native American, so I do have the right to speak on some of this because my bloodlines, my ancestors suffered. They were a part of that suffering, and sadly, they also played a big role in what happened. But it bothers me. It's why I don't talk about it. It's why I rather goof off and make funny videos and talk about God and really reach out to people and change them emotionally. Is because it feels good to connect to the world. It really does. It feels good to have something to say because of the pain that you felt in your life. I want to just stop right here to say, you're all beautiful. You're all so damn beautiful. All right, and that comes from my heart. It comes from my heart, and that's why I'm doing this video. I have to do a video on this because it hurts. It hurts to see the anger in people. But if you're the group that wants nothing more than to see pain, I tell you, there's pain. Whether it's just frustration. My uncle was walking out of work, a few months ago. He was leaving his job. He was going to get lunch. Maybe a sub at Subway. He likes to do that, and he's a happy guy. He took care of me my whole life. He's the reason I had insurance and the reason that when things were wrong and I was bleeding out of my ear for 14 years of my life. He's the reason that I was able to go get medicine, that I was able to be comfortable and to have a family, to be stable, and to have Christmas and to smile and get excited about Santa Claus. And a bunch of black kids, African Americans, I used to feel alright to say black, but I listened to what Morgan Freeman had to say, and I really liked what he had to say. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then here it is right here.
Why? You're going to relegate my history to a month? Oh, come on. What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? Well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay. Which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
All right. I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
I love it, man. I love it so much. It's like the most honest thing I've ever heard right there. And if it was, even this much possible, I would be 100% for just that alone. Like, let's make a movement. Let's go protest in the street about not calling each other the actual color that we are. I mean, I've never seen black people, as black as leather. I mean, there's some of them that are pretty close, but I've never seen a black person as black as night, or when you can't see in front of your hand when you're trying to walk to the bathroom and you trip over something and stub your toe and you're in so much pain that you just hate yourself for being stupid enough to feel that much pain. You know, Black people ain't black, and white people ain't white. We're peach, and we tan, and we become light brown. You know, it really is what he said. It could not have been said better. I'm gonna stop calling you a black man. You stop calling me a white man. I'm gonna stop calling you a Native American, guy, and you stop calling me a white guy. Um, you know, Nigger is one, nigga is one. You say it so much that people catch on. So many people have this thing for swag and this thing for style, and the white kids love the rap, like or should I say peach kids? Peach kids love the rap music these days, and they're gonna pick up on words that you use. I think that's another thing, is you should never say something that you don't want other people to follow. That's why I'm trying to quit swearing. Anybody that knows me on a personal level knows I've never drank and never smoked an entire day in my life. You want to ask me the question or want me to make a video on why is that, I will leave a story. I used to do the storytelling thing. We look back when I started my channel, and I'll fill you in on that. I'll fill you in on that. But back to what happened was these African Americans, blacks, brown, whatever you want to say, thug kids. I'll say thugs. These thugs that happen to be of the darker skin tone come up and punch my uncle in the face and knock him to the ground. Call him a pussy. They're like 16, 17 years old, and they call him a pussy, and they try to steal his wallet, and he gets up and takes off. He's pretty fast. He works out a lot, and my uncle flees, and they're screaming, yelling at him, calling him a pussy, because regardless of him working out and being big, he's not that kind of guy. He's not hard like that, and he watches action movies, and he's your average uncle, But the thing is he's really not made up for that. I don't think he truly wants to be a violent person. He just doesn't want to be weak, and he wants to be strong, and doesn't want to feel like he's weak for running, because he doesn't want to do any of the hurting himself that he could do. It's a shocker that they even would run up to someone that's bigger than them, because people are that crazy now. They really are. But yeah, so with that being said, that's hurtful, and it was racial, because they said, "Hey, white boy," that came up, hit him in the face, "Give me your money, white boy." Yeah, you're throwing that at him constantly, as he's running, pussy ass white boy, pussy ass white ass, like that thing where they say ass at the end of every sentence. Very good vocabulary. Very good vocabulary, by the way. For anybody that says that, Paco, I'm not missing a trick. But on that note, Paco's my nephew, if you guys are confused. Yeah. My Native American nephew. Makes a lot of sense. And on Halloween, a white kid wants to be a black guy. He wants to put, like a silky mineral mud texture on his skin, or a darker makeup tone to make himself look black as a joke. Or if a guy wants to dress up as a girl, I've done that one. These things they're not stereotypical, and they shouldn't be condemned. People are going to they're going to express. They're going to express things around them, and they're going to either be into it or joke around with it a little bit, maybe push it a little too far. But who hasn't done that? I think the biggest thing about race in general I'd like to throw out the window is it doesn't exist. It only exists inside the person. It doesn't truly, like, really, if you can possibly open your mind up to this, does racism exist? Does it truly exist? Think about that. Close your eyes. Does it exist? Or does it exist inside of you personally? It doesn't have to exist. It's fun. People like to see people rally up. What else would Black Lives Matter? If the change really happened, if 100% there was nothing to talk about, which there isn't. Most of the cops were a darker tone. They were black. That even shot those kids. Most of them themselves were black. This is important. But if there was something, if there obviously is, just like Black Lives Matter running in the streets and screaming, get those white bitches, just like that, there is white people that are racist. There is people that make money and will look at a poor person of any sort at like shit. I haven't been well off in my childhood, and I'll say this much right now. Where I'm living right now, there's some white privilege, you could say, older woman that does not like my image, that doesn't like my appearance. You can just tell with this reading thing I was talking about earlier, she doesn't like me. She doesn't like me. And I'm not black. She just doesn't like my appearance, meaning that someone can look down on black folks just by their appearance. Is it right? Of course not. I'm talking about her not liking me. People don't like people because of their appearance. And the white people that do that because they have money and they look at poor, less fortunate black families and black people in general. The cops that do that because they have a job and have a purpose, that look down on black folks as a less fortunate, same as a more successful black cop can look down at a white folk that is poor, like they're less fortunate because they don't have a purpose like he does. No matter how you look at it, this is the world. And if I could solve it all with one big hug, I would totally do that. But that's not going to happen. But that one big hug that really would settle it, is God. And if you don't believe in God, then there's no point to want to settle it. Be honest about what it is. Let's go protest because it's fun, because you're getting in people's faces and you're trying to be right. You protect what you know as right. I'm going to get into something. I'm going to do something that most people don't do. I'm going to do something right now that most people don't put in these videos. This is what I see being spiritual, believing in God. This is what we all are. And this is what we all were first and what we run from. We run so far away from what we originally were. What we all were once upon a time. Hope you enjoy this part of the video. This is what I see. This is what I see. This is what I see. I'm going to tell a story as I show these photos. Here's Native American baby right here, Asian baby. I was once arguing with this kid. He seemed bitter, was arguing with this guy. He seemed bitter, and he was probably, in his mid late 20s possibly. He's arguing, and I'm just good at that kind of thing, so I put him down really bad. And I argue, and I make him out to be nothing. Like his life is pointless. Look at this little girl. Look at this little girl. What you crying about, sweetheart? You ain't got nothing to cry about. You're too cute to cry. Look at this baby. Look at this little sweetheart right here. Look at that. I would adopt that baby, and that would be my life. That baby would have everything. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. Look at this little shit right here. Look at these kids. Look at these babies. All right. Look at this baby. Look at this baby right here. That is, to me, that is the dark-skinned people right there. Doesn't matter. The story I'm telling is that this guy, he goes at me. He's probably a Mexican, maybe German mix. He kind of had like that mixed look, and I put him to the dirt. I just make him so low because he tried. He started it, but he was bitter. He was angry about something, and this I realized I destroyed him, and he asked me something about, like some silly thing like kids do, like people do, do you have anyone? Where's your girl at? You low life, this kind of thing. Like, look at your hair. You definitely don't have a life. Like, look at your long hair. Look at this. This definitely isn't anything that people would be interested in. And then he leaves the conversation. I do, Skype calls and do all these things where I interact with people, and he happened to come across me, or through a friend, or through some new friend or something like that, and he just had a lot to say, and I looked through his Facebook because there was names popping up everywhere, and I was able to see him, and he pops up as a child. There was a photo of him as a child, maybe like a 7-year-old child or something like that. And he was just this bearded, angry, bitter man sitting in the dark. Was now a photo of this chubby, adorable, hamster cheek, funny, just looks like a ball of fun, a ball of funny. It sounds funny how I said that, but it's just the truth. He just had the curliest red, hair, and he was beautiful. He was beautiful. It crushed my insides that I wasn't there to open him up, show him you don't gotta be bitter, or like maybe there is friends. Maybe I'm an easy person to become friends with. Maybe I can ease that a little bit for you, a little bit of that bitterness. This was actually shockingly maybe like 5 years ago, and it changed me. I was barely anybody. I was barely past puberty. I was still going through puberty longer than somebody else should have been. And this changed me because I tried to apologize to him for my part, try to undo and unsay some of the things I said, and it was too late. He said, "Nah, man, people hate me." And this 1 minute ago, this angry human being, this angry man became, and that was what made it hard too. I was, like I said, barely going through puberty, barely over puberty, you could say, and it truly was. I just couldn't grow up one hair on my face. I couldn't do nothing. I looked like a little girl, and I was putting this grown man in the dirt because I had that power, because I had a lot to say. I had decent looks. I had this, and I put him to the dirt. And I tried to apologize, and he was, I could read his writing. He was crying. He was crying. And he was hurt, and I let him down. I let a human being down. I let a baby down. He had blue eyes. This was him. Doesn't justify what we do as adults. But I seen the kid, I seen the innocence that I let down in that human being, and I never did it again. I now, as much as I can, try to be there for people that are less fortunate, that other people wouldn't even think about. This is what we should all do for people. Look at this baby. Look at him. Crooked eye don't matter. Look at this. Look at this. Look at those blue eyes, see? See? My baby looks like it could be my baby. Look at these eyes. We're all the same. We're all the same. I don't mean to be bitter. I don't mean to be angry. I don't mean to be bitter. And whatever little tiny bit of racism lives inside of me, not only would I like people to help me get rid of that, but I would like to be a voice to end that, to even make someone hear something, that something will stand out to them.